NOSA community. It is Shamika. I am back. I officially made it back from the West Coast in Vegas a couple of days ago. But as you all know, the time difference can really catch up to you sooner than you realize. So after so much needed rest, I am back. I'm back on track. I know a lot of NOSA members have had questions. I've seen the questions in the group, as well as member requests. Just be patient with me and the rest of the team. We will go through the questions and kind of filter through them and approve the posts as we move forward. Just kind of give us till Monday, as we spent the week ago preparing for TravCon. So TravCon for me was a success. I was super excited to be out there with a handful of NOSAs. About 20 or so showed up. I'm glad that you all had a great time. It was a big event. Quite a few people were in attendance, including agencies. So it was nice to see so many people get out. I think it was good vibes throughout the event. We had a great time hanging out with a couple of fellow NOSA members at the Traveler Entrepreneur Marketplace. And if you haven't attended those types of events, they're super great, but they're super time consuming as well. That's why you want to do as much planning as possible to get things rolling, so that once you're there, you can rock and roll. So I think, I'm not sure if they put the official number out. I think they were anticipating a little bit over 1,000 people, and I believe it. I believe there was about 1,000 people there. They had a lot of amazing breakout sessions and topics. I got a chance to sit in on a couple of them from our members. The housing panel, we had some NOSA members on that. Traveling with kids and homeschooling, and diversity in healthcare. So I was super excited to at least take a peek in on what people are doing, or what else people are doing. Because as healthcare professionals, we do many things. So many of us play many hats on the floor, and then we go into the entrepreneurial space. A lot of times we do multiple things there too, right? So I just wanted to jump in and let you guys know, yes, I know there's a lot of stuff sitting out there, but be patient with us. We're back on track as of Monday to look through everything. We're going to update some upcoming events and lunchbox sessions that I'm super duper excited about. Since we got a couple of people online, definitely feel free to drop in and let us know where you're from. If you have any questions, it's a great time to ask them. As well, myself will be doing some fun things as we go into October. I kind of decided to start doing more Facebook Live. So I'll do some more topics on my Facebook business page about different topics that I see coming up in the group. As always, welcome to all my new group members. While at TravCon, we did hit our goal of 3,500 members. Yay! During that time, welcome to all the new members. Welcome to the people that I met at TravCon that decided to join. I'm excited for you guys and your own entrepreneurial journey. This group, this movement, this handful of thousands of nurses and healthcare professionals throughout the United States do an amazing job of information sharing, networking, and collaborating. And speaking on that, hey Shushma, originally from Baltimore, I'm from Maryland too, a little closer to DC though. This group does a good job of coming together. So while we were at TravCon, a handful of NOSAs and some of the partners who hosted Top Golf. It was a great time, lots of great food, great drinks, great conversation. Hi, Makisha from Tyler, Texas. Headed out to Staffing World. So we have a handful of NOSAs. I want to say, and if you guys are there and on the live or catch the live later, I want to say a handful of NOSAs, maybe 10 or so, went out to Staffing World as well. I know some of you guys have posted pictures that I had shared into the group. So that's awesome. And as an event before the end of the year that I plan to attend, and it's something that I think you should consider attending, I think it'll be a great educational opportunity that kind of talks about staffing from a educational business perspective, is what I'll say is a staffing, and I'm going to put it here in the comments, the staffing, and I'll see if they have a Facebook page, what they probably do, industry analyst, which really talks more about what's happening in the industry and different things related to staffing as a whole. So it's not as specific as healthcare staffing, and it's definitely not as specific as TravCon, which is just kind of the healthcare industry staffing, or even staffing world, where you have a little bit more of your vendors. It's more specific to just like education about the industry. So I'm always about getting as much education as I possibly can. So I will be in attendance. So staffing industry analyst in Massachusetts in November. So I'll leave more details. I think we already have some people attending already, which I'm excited about, and we'll actually probably host an event there as well. So a little bit about our Topgolf event. So we had about 22 NOSA members show up throughout the United States. So we had some NOSA members come in from Florida, South Carolina, Texas, California, and then of course we had our partners, so our healthcare partners from California, Kansas, and Florida, and Colorado, host the event, and it was really good. So myself personally, I've never gone golfing, but it was a great first step. So hopefully we can do something similar with a larger group at the Staffing Industry Analyst event in November. But definitely plan to be in attendance if you can. Check out events for upcoming information about it. And as we get closer to the date, we'll definitely share more details with you guys about it. But it's a great opportunity to connect with people, see people in person, and make that in-person connection, ask questions, meet fellow NOSAs. I think connecting with each other really allows us to do that whole partnering thing on another level. I know over the last year, so many of us have been doing things virtually. Like during TravCon, I got to meet so many people I've talked to probably 8 or 10 dozen times in person, and that kind of, solidifies the connection. So I'm excited to do it again in November. And then while we were at Topgolf, I announced, which I shared in a poll not too long ago, that the NOSA group will be hosting its own convention in 2022. So after some much deliberation and all of the events happening over the last year, I decided to actually host my first, probably annual, who knows, convention in 2022. More details will follow as we finalize everything. We announced it during the event. It's been placed in the group. It's official. It'll be happening. And if you want to be a part of it, as far as on any of our committees, more information will go out as we get closer to finalizing the location. And speaking of location, if you haven't checked out the poll and announcements, go there and select your location that you would want to go to. So I tell people we want to, pick a location that's convenient and based on the cities from that's most represented in the group. We want to make sure that as many people as possible can be in attendance. So I put a couple of cities that represent most of the NOSAs in the United States. So that's where those states came from. And you can also add a state in if you'd like, or a city in, preferably a city. And just to tell you guys, I'm going to write this. A little bit that that's taken into consideration when doing these types of events is convenience. So for myself and for many NOSAs, you want to make it something where people can easily fly into or drive into that particular city. So that's what most of the cities you see. I think right now we have Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami, and Houston on the top 4. The poll will stay up for the entire month, and then we'll kind of make a decision based on what makes sense organizationally. But we want to pick states where it's easy to fly into if you're going to fly, or drive into if you're going to drive. We want to make it easily accessible, as well as we want to make sure that people have things to do. So part of the idea of the convention for 2022 is that we want you guys to have the opportunity to get education. So kind of an extension of what the group does, but in person, live in person with experts. I'm a true believer of I stay in my lane. I know what I know, but there are hundreds of other people who are great at what they do and what they know. So kind of bringing those people to the forefront and allowing them, Sushma. I'm probably saying that wrong. Yeah, Charlotte's on the list. Charlotte's on the top 5 list. Bringing those people into a conference where you can go and kind of get the things that you need. You can go and talk to someone who can help you with marketing. You can talk with someone and sit on a session that discusses housing or discusses bill rates or travel nursing or how to get started. So it's a conference that will not only be open to existing NOSAs, it'll also be open to those who are interested in becoming NOSAs and getting a little bit more information. So, our intention is to have, of course, exhibitors have an opportunity for a job fair so that you guys are definitely getting the biggest bang for your buck, where you can have people actually come in and apply for opportunities, as well as have breakout sessions where you can get education along with networking. So you can network with other NOSAs and other industry business professionals as well, so that you can kind of make the connection. We have a lot of fun topics in mind around different things that we talked about in the group. We'll also probably have someone come in and talk about government contracts, because that's been super popular this year with all the various FEMA and COVID testing and vaccination contracts out there that'll kind of give a little bit of insight. We'll definitely have lots of conversations around pay and marketing, bill rates, cost of doing business, payroll funding, back offices. So all of those fun topics, credentialing management, technology in business. So all of those things that kind of help us do what we need to do, as well as maybe areas that we struggle in. So that's kind of the idea behind it. So if you can attend, I would love for you to come through. It's anticipated to be 2 to 3 days. So probably 2 days of events, and then of course a travel day and a wrap-up session or networking session along with a speaker. So like I said, more details will come out shortly for you guys, but the main thing that I need you guys to do, especially newbies, is to pick a location that you're interested in. It's in the announcement tab pinned at the top of the group, so definitely pick a location. So just a couple of more things before I wrap up this Saturday afternoon. Hopefully you guys are doing something fun and engaging. But new members. So we've had, I want to say, and guys, I'm just guessing, probably over this past week, probably over the last 3 days, we've had close to 100 new members. So I'm excited for you guys to be here. So welcome. 100 new members in 3 days. We're doing some big things since TravCon. I'm happy for you guys to be here. Welcome. But as a part of the welcome, I want to give you a couple of tips on how groups work. So Facebook groups work pretty much the same way, no matter the group that you're in, more or less depending on the topic. So a little bit about how this particular group works, and to get the biggest bang so that you're not kind of stumping your head or stumping your toe over and over again, or kind of feeling lost because there's so much content and information. A couple of things to remember. There's a lot of content out there. So there's lots of videos as well. Check us out on YouTube. So a lot of the videos have been moved over to YouTube. So if you haven't, check us out at the NOSA group on YouTube. Then there's a lot of posts. So if you start, when you go in and you look under announcements, that's a great place to start. But if you're looking for something specific, especially around the process of getting started, go to files and go to announcements and go to guides. You'll find all the information you need about getting started. There's a living document out there about the steps that are state specific that one of the amazing NOSA members created. So if you have stuff that you want to add to it, you can add to that particular file listed. I believe it says state requirements under files, so that's a great starting point. If there's not requirements listed, 9 times out of 10, that state doesn't have any special requirements. So what that document is, it's specifically having information around special requirements. And please be mindful that it's as up to date as it can be, because sometimes things change. So there are some states that may previously didn't have anything and then later decided to add additional requirements for staffing agencies. A couple of other things, we do have a post out there about the video where I talked initially in the group 3 years ago about how I got started. I really encourage people to understand that there isn't a blueprint or per se a one size fits all process of getting started, but there is steps to starting a business. So I tell people the way you get started depends on where you are in the process, or how quickly you get contracts or how quickly you're able to market your business. That's a little bit different. But for different people, the process can move slower or faster. So that's why I say there's not like a blueprint just for staffing agencies, but there is definitely information specific to starting a business. So that process will look pretty much the same. Okay. So the other thing is, once you look all of those places and say you're not finding what you're looking for, which is totally understandable, two other things to consider. One, Facebook groups does, and this is more of a Facebook thing than it is anything I have in control over, they do archive things after a certain period of time. So that might be part of it. But if you go to the search bar, the little icon that's usually right here, it looks like a magnifying glass, or it could be a search bar, so it'll look kind of like a bar. You can type in parts of a question. So I would encourage you not to type in a full question because it will be harder for you to find the exact question there, versus if you're asking a question about contracts, type in contracts. If you're asking a question about payroll, put in payroll. If you have a question about call outs, put in call outs, or staffing, or clients, or marketing. So using one or two words is a better resource than actually typing out a full question. And then the last part, because I know there's a lot of questions sitting out there waiting to be approved, but the last part is, as a group last month, we decided to limit the amount of questions that are repetitive. And part of the reason of doing that is really for you guys. So if you ask a question about, well, how do I get started with my staffing agency? And that question has been answered several other times, you won't get any responses. So it's beneficial to you to use a search bar or the magnifying glass to search there first, put in the question, and then comment on someone else's post. That's more beneficial, as I know some people have commented where they think, people aren't answering their posts, when in actuality, if I get a chance to comment, I'll tell you, hey, that question has been answered. That's why it's not getting any comments on your post. It's definitely not anything personal, as well as you have to take into consideration within this group, there are a percentage of people who are already running their businesses in addition to those who want to get started. And as we go into 2022, we'll probably break out that group just for more consistency. But at this time, we're all kind of lumped in together. But like I said, as we go into 2022, we'll probably have another group called Newbies. And there is an existing Facebook group called Newbie NOSAs. So that might be a great place for you guys to start as well. But right now, it's not as active as this group. So if you're here, we're glad you're here. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So those are a couple of tips as well. In the events tab, that tells you upcoming events, whether it's Zoom sessions or in-person events. It could be my events. It could be other individuals in the group's events, and it'll also include how to join. So it'll include links and all of that types of information. If you say you're interested in the event, you'll get notifications from Facebook about what you need to do next, it's coming soon, and things of that nature. And that's really what you want to use. But most of the events will have the Zoom link, which is where we're doing majority of our events at this time. And then if it's a Zoom, it'll be saved and it'll actually be placed back into the group a couple of days after the event happens. So that's that. So look around. Don't hesitate to ask. I encourage you to comment before you post a question to ask, as that'll get you more traction than to post a question that's already existing out there. And and it just may be worded differently, because that's kind of the trick, is that sometimes it's worded a little bit differently. As well, thanks to all the NOSAs that showed up at Topgolf and showed up at TravCon this past weekend, and all the industry partners. Thank you guys for supporting what it is that I'm doing here at the NOSA group, and all the NOSA members in their journeys and various stages in entrepreneurship. Kudos to all those who made it out to Colorado for Staffing World. I hear it's going really, really great. We have a couple of industry partners out there as well. So if you have a chance, definitely stop by and say hey and connect with them. I think we have Debbie. Actually, I think we have Kamana that's out there as well. So we have Debbie with Universal Background, Natalie with Inserica, Thad's team with Hire Staff, and Kamana is out there as well. So definitely stop by and say hi. It's a great opportunity to connect in person. And then finally, check us out as Staffing Industry Analysts in November in Massachusetts. We'll be there as attendees, obviously, because it's more educational focused. And we'll plan to host an event, and as we get more details about the event, we'll let you guys know who'll be out there. It shouldn't be too cold in Massachusetts, and all my Boston, Massachusetts NOSAs, reach out. Actually, message me if you are in Massachusetts or the surrounding area. Message me, because you guys might be able to help me come up with a best location based on where Staffing Industry Analyst is located to host an event, some sort of networking meet and greet. So, as always, thanks guys for all your support. Again, hi Dee Marie. Again, check us out on YouTube, the Nurse Owned Staffing Agency, and then check out the announcements tab about picking the location you would like the first annual NOSA conference convention to be. All right, you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. I'll be chatting with you.